So it says showtime here. We're live. Welcome, everybody, to the WrestleView AEW Revolution live post show here on our YouTube channel. And we are going to break down tonight's pay-per-view event. Thank you for joining us, everyone that's joined us tonight. It was an interesting night. We've had some technical difficulties with BR Live tonight. There was some streaming issues with BR Live, and so we lost our feed a few times. But we were able to manage some alternatives to that, so we were glad that that took place with that. And so we lost part of the match with the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And so we definitely welcome your comments tonight for those of you that watched the pay-per-view. So we'll start with the first match of the night. Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho. It looked like Jericho, it looked like he turned heel tonight. He was giving the finger to the crowd, and but he ended up losing tonight. He lost to Eddie Kingston by submission. Eddie Kingston submitted Chris Jericho. It was a good physical match. The fans tonight in Orlando at the sold-out venue, the Addition Financial Arena, they were clearly behind Eddie Kingston. I mean, there was Eddie Kingston chants going out throughout that match, and it was a really good physical match tonight. So the fans were behind Eddie Kingston. I was actually surprised that he went over. I thought for certain that Chris Jericho would go over, but it was good to see Eddie Kingston go over. And so your thoughts, Gabby, on tonight's match with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho?
I was kind of sad when Chris Jericho gave the finger to the fans, because that's something that Chris Jericho does not do unless he turns heel again
as a heel.
The second time.
Yeah, heel Chris Jericho, definitely.
I thought Eddie Kingston was kind of like Jurassic Express. The fans are so over with Eddie Kingston. They love him. And overall, the match, they tore the house down. So it was a really good match overall.
Yeah, it was a good match tonight. It definitely was a good start for tonight's Revolution pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday on Dynamite, because Eddie, wanted his hand shook. Jericho said on, last week he said on it was on Dynamite that if Kingston won, that he would shake Eddie Kingston's hand, and then so he was putting his hand out, and then he was kind of hesitant, and he was holding the back of his head. He said, "No, I just can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it." Pulls his hand away, walks out of the ring. The crowd boos. And so we'll see what kind of fallout from that happens on Wednesday night. If Jericho ends up shaking Eddie's hand, I think the feud's over at this point, but I can't see them carrying this feud for another match at Double or Nothing in May. I think they're probably done with this feud. So we move on to the next match. It was the three-way triple threat for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Oh, hello there, Ram from India. Glad you are joining us tonight on the post show. Excellent. Someone from India. That is outstanding. I like it when we get international fans that are in other countries. It's excellent. And please, if you watch the pay-per-view, please give us your thoughts. So as we move on, again, the triple threat match that took place, it was the triple threat tag team match. Red Dragon, which was Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, taking on the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. And I will tell you that the Jurassic Express is so over with the fans. I mean, the Orlando crowd loved them tonight. And that match was another wild match. The action was all over the place tonight. There was a lot of near falls in this match. There was a lot of dissension between Red Dragon and the Bucks because they both had this quote unquote agreement to watch each other's backs. And there were times in the match where Red Dragon turned on the Bucks turned on Red Dragon when they were breaking up the pinfalls, and Red Dragon ended up taking out the Bucks a few times. The Bucks took out, of course, the Red Dragon a few times. The match spilled outside the ring, inside. It was all over. It was outside the ring, inside the ring. It was all over the place tonight. And so Jurassic Express ended up retaining, and I think the right team went over tonight. I wasn't expecting a title change, even though there was a lot of good near falls. I can't see the titles being put on Red Dragon. Maybe down the line, I don't know. If Jurassic Express drops the belts, I think it probably would either be at Double or Nothing in May, or possibly All Out in September. But as long as Jurassic Express is over as they are with the fans, I can't see them dropping the titles. They retained tonight by pinfall. And so it was a great all over the action matchup. So Gabby, your thoughts on the triple threat tag team match with Jurassic Express going over?
Well, like you said, they are over with the fans. Everybody loves to dance with them because when they come out, the arena goes nuts and everybody dances with them because, everybody loves them, which is true.
Yeah. Yep.
I was happy when they retained because they should have retained. Even if they didn't retain, they should have retained. Because they do deserve the titles. They've been working so hard to get those, and they finally got them. I loved the match. I loved it when they took it outside the ring. They took it everywhere. They got physical with it. It was a really good match, and it was just they tore the house down.
They did. Yep. Our fan from India thought that the Moxley Danielson match was outstanding. We will get to that. So I'm hoping that our fan from India will give us their thoughts more on that. So we move on to the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And this is where BR Live tonight had some issues. They had streaming issues. I don't think they expected as many buys for Revolution tonight, because Gabby did some research, and it was learned that on Android televisions, which we have, BR Live was having streaming issues. And I think their server was crashing. So we ended up having to use AirPlay on Gabby's iPhone to stream off the BR Live app, which actually worked from that point on. It had some lag a little bit at times, but other than that, it was successful for us. So I wonder if BR Live's going – I expect BR Live to address the issue more than likely, and I think they'll probably end up refunding some people who want refunds. But we had the Face of the Revolution ladder match, Christian Cage, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Orange Cassidy was in that. Gabby, did I miss anybody? Who else was in that besides? I think it was those. There was so much action in
the Face of the Revolution ladder match.
Yes, that was Orange Cassidy. Wardlow.
Keith Lee, Wardlow.
Oh, that's right. Keith Lee.
Hobbs,
Keith Lee. Yes.
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, Ricky Starks. Right. And that was another crazy match that was all over the place. But like I said, our feed kind of cut in and out. We lost it partway through, and then there was about 3 or 4 minutes that we lost, and then it was freezing up on us again. And so I couldn't recap the whole match. But surprisingly, Wardlow went over tonight. Wardlow won that match. I was hoping that Christian Cage wouldn't win it because he's past his prime. In all honesty, he's won his ladder matches. He's almost 50 years old. It's time to let the younger guys step up. He wants to work with the younger talent. So I'm glad that he helped the younger talent get them over. I was not expecting Wardlow to win tonight. I thought Keith Lee was actually going to win the Face of the Revolution ladder match.
Was going to win.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy. I didn't expect Orange to win it, but I thought Keith Lee was because he's a new signee. He's former WWE. I thought they were going to give him the win, but Wardlow, as I mentioned, went over. Fans cheered him on that. They actually cheered him. So it was good to see Wardlow go over, and so then he'll face. He gets a future title shot for the AEW TNT Championship. So that'll be down the road. And that was another match that was all over the place. I mean, there was some fun with that. The way they used the ladder. Orange Cassidy had the ladder around his neck, and he was swinging it around and taking out the other talent and other superstars or stars, how they call them in AEW. The ladders were used a lot tonight in the matchup. There was a lot of physicality with that, a lot of crazy spots. So that was a good match, and the crowd again liked it. Ladder matches aren't too overly used in the AEW, but good to see that. Good to see Wardlow go over. So, Gabby, your thoughts on the Face of the Revolution ladder match? And I know you wanted Orange to win it, but he didn't. So what did you think?
Well, I kind of tried to guess to see who would win. I didn't expect Wardlow to win. That was a surprise win. I either expected Orange Cassidy or Powerhouse Hobbs to win. And I didn't think Wardlow was going to win because he's like the low person on the totem pole for that kind of stuff.
Well, they're giving him a push, which is good. I mean, if anybody would have also won it, it could have been Ricky Starks. Ricky's good on the mic. He's a good champion. Mm-hmm. He's a good wrestler. I like Ricky.
He's a good.
He's funny on commentary on Rampage. He's hilarious on commentary. So if you ever watch Rampage, and he's on commentary, it's funny. He's great. Orange. I just didn't expect. I didn't think Orange was going to win it. Like I thought Keith Lee was, but we'll see if they give Wardlow a title run in the future. I hope they just don't build this up for him and then disappoint with him not getting the TNT title, because I mean Wardlow is he's got a lot of potential. We'll talk more about Wardlow a little bit later, but yeah, I mean, Ricky Starks would have been a good winner. He's definitely got good athleticism. So yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable match. The fans liked it. They were hot tonight, but there were some times where they were not. They were quiet, and we'll get to that later, and we'll be discussing that as well. And so one of the matches that I had put on the recap that I thought was a bathroom break match was Jade Cargill versus Tay Conti for the TBS Championship. We didn't expect Tay Conti to go over, and we didn't expect a title change with that belt tonight. It was a short match. The fans were kind of into it. They kind of weren't. And there was some fairly good moves. I mean, Tay Conti did some kicks to Jade Cargill from, the one side of the corner to the other. And so it was some of the stuff to, kind of get people into the match and get them to think that there maybe could have been a title change, but didn't expect it. And the fans were quiet for that match. I mean, there was some noise, but basically, it was kind of a filler, I think. And I mean, Jade Cargill, she's good. She's a good athlete. I mean, she's built well. She's a bodybuilder, physical trainer outside of AEW. And so, I mean, she's in good shape. And so I didn't expect, again, a title change, but you and I, Gabby, were kind of thinking who could, dethrone her from that TBS championship. And we were thinking Ruby Soho, but where's Ruby Soho been? I mean, I think she's on Dark Elevation, but we don't really see her. Like, she was built up and built up, and thought that she was going to be the one, to be the women's champion, AEW women's champion. Didn't happen. We thought maybe she would go to the finals of the TBS championship. She did. Thought she was going to win the TBS championship. She didn't. So Tony Khan obviously has, good faith in Jade Cargill. He believes in her. And if she ends up losing that title, I don't think it's going to be probably until either All Out or maybe Full Gear. I mean, they're probably going to give her a good run with it. She's a good talker, and Mark Sterling, he's got a good mouth on him. He's a good talker. I know he's your favorite. Really not. I know you're giving me that look. Smart Mark Sterling, yes, I know. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh, yes. So what is our fan from Indies asking? Why WrestleView does not do WWE predictions and spoilers? Yeah, it's a good question. We do post some spoilers for Rampage when they're out. If WWE has taped programming for SmackDown or Raw, we do post those spoilers. We're a small staff, so it's really hard for us to kind of give some predictions. I wanted to do it today, but I couldn't. I wanted to give predictions for Revolution, but just because of the schedule I had today, I wasn't able to sit down and do that. So good question. Glad you asked that. And so looking at the next match, which was a bloody mess. So Jade Cargill won by pinfall, just to go back on that one. So CM Punk, MJF, dog collar match, old school dog collar match. I remember those from back in the day. Greg Valentine, Roddy Piper back in the National Wrestling Alliance. So I'm dating myself now because it was just the other day Gabby was asking me how long I've been watching professional wrestling and following it. And I had to do the math, and I told her 37 years after I did the math. So it's been a long time. Started watching in 1985. So you can maybe guess my age by just that, maybe or maybe not. So CM Punk tonight, after MJF came out, CM Punk had his old music from Ring of Honor. And Punk looked a bit confused. Not Punk, but MJF looked a bit confused. Gabby looked confused. I didn't look confused because I remembered CM Punk's music from Ring of Honor. And Tony Khan just announced this past Wednesday, last Wednesday, that he bought Ring of Honor. He's purchased Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor's his company now. And so not only did Punk come out to his old Ring of Honor music, he came out to his old Ring of Honor ring attire. And so it was acknowledged on commentary. Commentary team of Excalibur and Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross acknowledged that Punk, I know Gabby stuck her tongue out. She doesn't like Excalibur. His commentary is kind of nauseating. And Jim Ross did forget that he was in Orlando tonight, which was kind of funny. But overall, Jim's the best in the business when it comes to play-by-play. I wish Jim Ross would be on play-by-play instead of Excalibur. Nothing against Excalibur. I don't care for him. Tony Schiavone is great too. Grew up with Tony Schiavone, grew up with Jim Ross, watching the National Wrestling Alliance and, of course, WCW later on. But anyway, Punk was dressed in his Ring of Honor attire. It was acknowledged on commentary tonight because, of course, Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor. So this match was old school dog collar match, extremely bloody. Punk got the bridge of his nose was cut open, and he was just pouring blood. I mean, he was pouring and pouring blood. And then MJF ended up getting his forehead cut open, and he was pouring blood. And yes, Gabby loves blood. That's her favorite type of matches. And so there was a lot of physicality with this. match. The chain with the was used a lot tonight, which was great. It was used inside the ring, outside of the ring. So there was a lot of physicality with this match tonight. And also, we saw thumbtacks, and Gabby loves thumbtacks. And so there was spills on thumbtacks. And at the end of the, for the match, your winner was CM Punk. MJF, lost. And it was interesting that there was a point in the match where MJF had thumbtacks in his hand, and he was crying for Wardlow, 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 Wardlow. That cry face. He was showing his hand all bloody. Wardlow's coming down to the ring. He's kind of nonchalant in a suit, and the commentary team had recognized there was a different look on Wardlow's face. And so, what MJF wanted tonight, he wanted the ring, his of course the diamond
his
ring,
fancy ring,
his ring that he got from the battle, the diamond royal battle royal thing they do. And so Wardlow's looking in his jacket, one side looking in his jacket, on the other side kind of doing this, and like, don't have it. And so then Punk kind of, walks off, turns his back. And then MJF turns his back. Punk takes him down. And then Wardlow pulls out the ring from his pocket, and he puts it on the mat, and the fans go nuts. Wardlow walks off. Punk has that look. Yep, Wardlow walks away. Punk puts on the ring, and then bam, hits MJF with it. MJF falls on the tacks. Punk covers him. 1, 2, and 3. And Punk goes over tonight after MJF beats him 2 previous times, and the fans go crazy. So that was great. Our India fan has a question. We're going to see that here. So he's asking the status of Cody Rhodes. And I'm glad you asked that, because just earlier today I put up a report that it appears that, and I'll pull out my phone here because I'm going to pull the report up on my phone so that I can give the most accurate information as they posted it. So let me look at that really quick here. So those that might be asking also about that. So the update as of earlier today on Cody Rhodes going to WWE was that we're hearing that WWE thought it was a done deal, but apparently things may have changed since WWE thought things were a done deal with Cody. Creative plans were said to be already laid out for Cody Rhodes, but now something has come up that's caused some uncertainty, and we're not sure what that uncertainty is. WWE apparently reportedly doesn't know what's going on with Cody, and so there's been some discussion, though, amongst fans. Now, this is amongst fans. This is not from our sources that we hear from. This is fans speculating that maybe this whole Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes leaving AEW is a work, and it's an angle, and that Cody and Brandy are still signed to AEW, and Cody's going to come in and come back and run Ring of Honor, which Tony Khan has recently purchased. Cody and Brandy were in Ring of Honor at one point. They were heels. Cody was a nasty heel in Ring of Honor. He's the world champion, Ring of Honor world champion at one point, and he did some old school territory antics, which was great. So I don't know. We'll see. If Cody ends up going to WWE, it's probably not going to be until after WrestleMania 38 that he shows up, or maybe she shows up at WrestleMania. I don't know, but we'll see as the saga continues. And so I had read something somewhere, I can't recall, where somebody had mentioned that they'd spoke to Cody. Somebody close to him mentions that Cody said he's a stay-at-home dad. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's very interesting. We'll find out in the next few weeks where Cody goes or where he doesn't go, or if he ends up coming back to AEW to run Ring of Honor. I don't know. I still don't really know what Tony Khan is going to do with Ring of Honor. He's got the streaming library. He's got the streaming service. He's got a ton of video footage. He's got no talent because when Ring of Honor went on hiatus in December, they released everybody. So basically what Tony Khan has, he's got the name Ring of Honor. He's got the logo Ring of Honor, which you can change. He's got the video library for Ring of Honor. He's got the streaming service, the Honor Club. And Ring of Honor is scheduled to do a live event in the Dallas, Texas area on April 1st, Supercard of Honor, which is the day before night one of WrestleMania. So it'll be very interesting to possibly see what transpires with that. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. So, Gabby, your thoughts on the very bloody dog collar match with CM Punk and MJF and all the thumbtacks?
My favorite part is when he pulled out the thumbtacks.
Of course it is.
And they were going back and forth between who's going to put who on the thumbtacks and all
Yep,
the blood.
yep.
And then when they were pulling each other at the chain and wrapping each other around, and when they were hitting each other at the chain, they were throwing each other around. That was my favorite part too.
Yeah. They definitely use the chain a lot, which is great. Old school, definitely an old school dog collar match. So
they tore
the crowd was
down,
really.
They
did tear the house down. Yes, they tore the house down. The fans in Orlando were into this match. They were chanting CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk a lot. And then Punk. Then there was a point in the match. I remember when Punk was down and MJF was able to grab a mic, and he grabbed the mic and he told Punk to tell the fans how much he really hates them, and then to eat S dash. And then of course the fans started chanting that, except of course they weren't using the S dash, neither did MJF. And the fans started chanting that because that's Punk. Punk told MJF to do that, so that was great. So the next match we had was the AEW Women's Championship match. This was a great build-up. AEW did a great build to this match with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, especially with the signing contract for the signing of the contract. And so I know, Gabby, you had to step out briefly for this match. But Britt Baker ended up winning by pinfall. And it was a good match. Thunder Rosa was working through an injury, a reported injury. She injured herself at one point last week, but nobody really knows what that injury was or the extent of it. But you could tell she wasn't as physical as she normally was, as crazy as she normally was. But she did some crazy stuff. The one thing I didn't like about this match is that there was so much outside interference from Rebel and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter would distract the ref, Rebel would distract the ref, and then Britt would get her cheap shots in. And there was the point in the match where Thunder Rosa took out Jamie Hayter and took out Rebel from the apron onto the floor. And then Thunder Rosa goes into the ring and then gets a curb stomp to be pinned. And I like Britt Baker. I've seen out of character interviews with her. I have liked Britt's character as a heel, and I think that the creative point was there's the Orange Cassidy thumb. I think the creative point behind this was to make Britt be that nasty, cheating heel. But in all honesty, Britt's better than that, in my opinion. And when you have so much outside interference like there was tonight, it makes her look weak. It makes her like a weak heel champion. And for me, a strong heel champion should go in and just dominate. I mean, yeah, the baby face should get the offense, and there should be some near falls with the baby face onto the heel champion. But I was disappointed with the way it was booked tonight. I thought Britt should have been made to look stronger than having Jamie Hayter and Rebel, as her lackeys to help her win. And eventually, I hope that maybe Rebel and Jamie Hayter turn on Britt. I don't know if they'll do a double turn and Britt will be the face, and then Hayter and Rebel will stay as the heels, or if I don't know if Britt maybe will turn on them. I don't know. I don't know. But so, Gabby, I know you had to step out, but your thoughts on what you thought of the match with what before you had to step out briefly.
I liked it. The amount of that I saw. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa are definitely hard wrestlers. They definitely want to give it their all. They want to make sure that it's a good show.
Yep. All right, so we move on to Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Now, surprisingly, this match had a slow start. There was a lot of lockups, a lot of old school type collar and elbow tie-up type stuff. It had a slow start, and the fans were not really into it. At points in the match, they were quiet, surprisingly. And I don't know if it's just because they were expecting more physicality than what we saw. But it did pick up. I mean, there was a lot of kicks and a lot of slaps, a lot of chops, and a lot of blood. There was a point in the match where it spilled to the outside. Moxley did some headbutts on Danielson, and then Moxley's head bleeds. Danielson goes down. He gets up, and Danielson's bleeding. So there was some blood. And Danielson did say in an interview I read earlier in the week that he wants to bleed. He wants to do blood, and Vince McMahon wouldn't let him bleed, supposedly. And so that was one of his reasons why he chose to sign with AEW, is because Tony Khan lets him bleed. So Jon Moxley ended up going over. He won tonight, which I didn't expect. I thought Bryan Danielson was going to win. And then so after the match, there was a point where they brawled a lot. Afterwards, Danielson shoved the ref. He was mad because the way that Moxley pinned Danielson, it looked like he actually was pinned by Danielson, but Moxley actually pinned Danielson. It was very unique in that. And so, Ram, our India fan, I'll get to your question in a moment. Thank you for asking. So Moxley won that match, and then when they were fighting, brawling after that, security came out, and then security couldn't contain them, and all of a sudden the camera cuts to the stage area, and out walks former WWE NXT general manager William Regal, and the fans go crazy. And Regal walks into the ring, and Moxley's looking surprised. Danielson's looking surprised. He's trying to restore some order into the fight, the brawl between Moxley and Danielson. And then so Regal ends up headbutting. He ends up headbutting Moxley, who looks really surprised. And then he turns around and he slaps Danielson, who ends up looking surprised. And then he gets both men to try to shake hands, and both men shake hands. And so Gabby asked the question, do we have a tag team in Moxley and Danielson? And not only do we have a tag team in Moxley and Danielson, do we have a babyface tag team in Moxley and Danielson? I don't know. Good question. We'll find out on Wednesday, hopefully on Dynamite. And then I did go onto Tony Khan's Twitter, and he confirmed that he has signed William Regal to an AEW contract. So we'll get that report up here after this live post show. I'll have the report up with all that. And speaking of signings as well, during the show, Tony Schiavone came out and said, we're going to do a signing, and he had a contract on a clipboard in his hand, and out comes former WWE superstar Isaiah Scott Swerve, Shane Strickland. And so he signed the contract, and he is going to go by Shane Swerve Strickland. And so he was released by WWE several months back. And so, in my opinion, for that signing, I think boring for Shane Strickland. The signing for William Regal is awesome. William Regal is great. Quentin Walters, welcome. And yes, the pay-per-view was fire. It was great. We enjoyed it. So I don't know if you think it was a dumpster fire or like fire as in like great fire. William Regal's great. And if Tony Khan decides to do like an on-screen authority figure, which I don't know if he's going to go that route, William Regal's perfect for that. I don't know what kind of on-screen role William Regal might have. He's great on commentary, so he could go on Rampage and replace Taz, who's awful on commentary. But it'll be interesting. Now, William Regal will be great backstage. He could train the young guys and young gals. He's great. It was a great get for Excited Fire. Yes. Excellent, Quentin. Thanks for clarifying. Agree with you, man. And so I'd like to hear, Quentin, your thoughts on William Regal, because, no matter what capacity he's in, multiple capacity or single capacity with AEW, he's a great sign, and I think he'd be a great on-screen presence somehow as a manager or some type of an on-screen authority figure. So our fan in India, he was asking me if I'm going to go to WrestleMania 38. No, I'm not going to go to WrestleMania 38. I've never been to a WrestleMania, and no, I'm not going to be able to make it for a first time. So thanks for asking that question. But we will have live coverage of WrestleMania 38 night 1 and 2, April 1st and 2nd. And I assume we'll have a post show as well. That probably would be with Mike Tedesco, Victoria Tedesco, Roy Nemmer, and I assume WrestleView owners Paul Nemmer probably would be in on that as well. So we'll see on that one. I won't be watching WrestleMania 38, but I'll certainly be following the results when I can, both nights, as much as I can. We move on then next to this match that I thought was going to be a throwaway match. It was late in the card on the pay-per-view. It was the Trios Texas Tornado match, where it was Andrade and Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy taking on Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. Before I get to that, Quentin Walters' comment. Yep. He says he'd love to see Regal in some on-screen part, maybe an authority figure. That would be good for Regal. He's great with his authority figures. Tony Khan may come out and say, we need to get some type of, matches made and order restored, and I can't do it all because I got Ring of Honor now, and it could be that way. So yeah. So your thoughts, Gabby, on William Regal, because I had to remind you who he was. And so your thoughts on William Regal, thoughts on Moxley and Danielson really quick before we actually move on to the other match, because I think I forgot to ask you that.
When William Regal finally got them to shake hands, I was like, yes, a new tag team for me.
Maybe. Yep, good. Yep, it was good. And the fans cheered that. The fans actually cheered it. Yeah, the fans really liked the fact that they shook the hands. So yeah,
he would be good as an on-screen authority figure, like to officiate contract signings and make sure that they don't get out of hand.
Yeah, that would be good. Good thought. I never thought of that. That would be good, because Tony Schiavone would usually be doing the the contract signings when they would have those. And so, yeah, I mean, that'd be good. William Regal could do that. And he definitely could have that good on-screen presence with that. So going back to the trios match, that was it was billed as a trios match, and then we learned it was a Texas Tornado match. And I thought something was up because action was all over the place. I mean, it was inside the ring, outside the ring. It spilled up into the crowd, and it was just a wild match. It was late in the card. I thought that something like that should have actually started the pay-per-view, and so I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. Real quick here, our fan from India says, Tony Khan did not purchase WWE. Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor. There's been a lot of rumors about WWE selling to Disney, selling to Fox, or selling maybe to Comcast, which is Peacock, NBC Universal, USA Network. Yeah, I don't think that Tony Khan would purchase WWE if Vince McMahon sold it to anybody. It would make sense to sell it to Peacock, basically Comcast, NBC Universal, because they signed that multi-year $1 billion deal with Peacock to have all the WWE content on Peacock. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'd be very interesting.
If Vince sold WWE, if Vince sold WWE, what would happen to Saudi Arabia? His contract with them.
I think that he signed that 10-year agreement with Saudi Arabia, so there probably would be a clause in the deal that if it was sold to NBC Universal, there would be a clause in the deal that would have to continue. Unless NBC Universal just paid all this money to Saudi Arabia's, to buy out the agreement, but I don't know. That'd be very, very interesting. It's all speculation, all what ifs type stuff. Yeah. So the trios match, when we saw that being all over the place, it was billed as a trios match. It ended up being a trios Texas Tornado match, and it was all over the place, outside the ring, inside the ring. There were some crazy spots. So it spilled outside. Yes, when Sting went through the tables, that was crazy. So that spilled out to the very first level of the arena, and so you've got these tables that are set up, 3 of them. Andrade's on that top table. Matt Hardy and Sting, are up on that first level, and Sting takes out Hardy, and then Sting just dives on Andrade, and the first top 2 tables break, and it was crazy to see a 60-plus-year-old man and Sting, who I watched as a kid, and then as a teenager, as an adult, he was a lot younger, of course, do some crazy stuff. But Sting, takes out Andrade, crashes through 2 tables, and the fans start chanting, "You still got it. You still got it. You still got it." It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
And then when Isaiah Cassidy and Sammy Guevara went on to those 2 tables, and one of them did not break like they were supposed to. They did not break.
So what Gabby's referring to is that on top of the stage area, Isaiah Cassidy's up on the stage area. Sammy Guevara climbs it, and then a Spanish fly off of that stage area onto these tables that didn't break. And Aubrey Edwards is checking on Sammy Guevara and Isaiah Cassidy. You can clearly see that they're checking. All 3 of them are checking. Well, Isaiah Cassidy and Gabby pointed this out, is that the camera saw that Sammy Guevara and Isaiah Cassidy were laying on still out, and obviously after Aubrey Edwards checked on them, Cassidy and Guevara were checking on each other because they were, I mean, the hands were kind of up. And so Sammy Guevara is supposed to defend the TNT Championship Wednesday on Dynamite against Scorpio Sky. So I don't know. Hopefully Guevara's okay because that was a crazy spot. And I assume that the table was supposed to break. But it didn't break. And I always get concerned when I see that kind of stuff because that's just dangerous. It's very dangerous. Oh, look at Brett Farmer. Welcome, Brett. And he's saying he saw Sting and Matt Hardy going above that entrance. It was like, yeah, both of these guys are older. What the heck is taking this bump? Yeah, I wasn't expecting Sting to take that dive either because Gabby's like, can Sting do that? Can Sting do that? I said, well, Gabby, Sting is limitations, and obviously one of his limitations is okay to like take a dive onto some tables. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was absolutely
3 tables
crazy.
stacked on top of each other. He goes over the guardrail and he just leaps forward, and I'm like, what in the world?
I know, it was absolutely bonkers. It was crazy stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. And so oh, yep, there we go. I'll go to Brett Farmer's comments. Sting looked rough afterwards. Hope he's okay. Yep, I do too. I hope Sting's okay.
I do agree with you. I was a little worried there because he wasn't getting up, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, no.
He wasn't getting up there. And I hope that Sammy Guevara and, yeah, I know, it's crazy. So I hope Sting's okay. I agree with Brett. And I hope that Guevara and Cassidy are okay as well, because that was awful when the table doesn't break. Oh, Quentin. Thank you, Quentin. Yep. Like and subscribe and share this podcast. Follow any wrestling news on our WrestleView website and on social media and join in the conversation, or Gabby will speak her mind. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Quentin's a character. Love it. I love Quentin. He's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, she's doing the Orange Cassidy thumb from whenever and wherever, right? The freshly squeezed thumb. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And so, yeah, it was just, I mean, Darby Allin's crazy. He was crazy as well tonight. That match. So Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara went over. They won the match. Darby Allin pinned Matt Hardy. So Matt Hardy had the chair on Darby, had it wrapped around his neck. Darby countered it, and then he ended up doing a Scorpion Death Drop. Matt Hardy, did the Scorpion Death Drop with Matt Hardy onto the chair, and then he got up, did the Coffin Drop. Looked like he didn't quite connect all the way with it from what I saw, but he got enough of it, and then he pinned Hardy 1, 2, 3. And so
Matt Hardy was halfway across the ring. Darby Allin did the Coffin Drop. He was almost there. He kind of misdirected it, but he was able to get the pin 1, 2, 3 and win.
Yep, he did. Yep. And I expected Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara to win. Andrade's become kind of a mid-carder. Isaiah Cassidy, of course, a private party. I don't know where his tag team partner was. Oh, Brett Farmer's got a comment. So, legal action to prevent a Jeff Hardy debut tonight. I heard something about that, Brett, but I also understand that Jeff Hardy's full 90 days is up on Wednesday the 9th. That's my understanding. So there could have been some potential legal action preventing Jeff Hardy from debuting. His name was dropped tonight. The commentary team did drop it. Jim Ross mentioned about calling matches between Jeff and Matt over the past years. So we'll see, Brett, if Jeff shows up Wednesday night on Dynamite. I would not be surprised if he did, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe WWE can't really block they really can't block him from showing up after his 90 days is up. So I don't know if he'll show up on Wednesday night on Dynamite, or if they'll do a tease for him to show up the following week on Dynamite. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. What will they do with Jeff Hardy? Because Matt's a heel. Is Matt going to break away from this Hardy Family Office nonsense, and maybe do one last run with Jeff as a face tag team, get a short run as the AEW World Tag Team Champions. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see what happens Wednesday if Jeff shows up, or the following week. And if he does, what they do with that with Matt and Jeff, because Jeff's been heel before. Gabby was watching some old Impact, TNA Impact footage with Hogan and Jeff Hardy, and Jeff was heel. He was awful as a heel. It just didn't go over with the fans very well. Quentin Walters asking, do we see Jeff Hardy or Willow? Good question, because Jeff Hardy actually owns the Willow gimmick. So will Tony Khan let him do that? I don't know. I like that Willow, and I also like the itchweed thing too. I thought that was kind of funny.
I love the itchweed. It's funny with the itchweed one because he's carrying a weeder with him, and he's like using it, and it's funny.
Oh. So here's some rumors that Brett's hearing. We'll try to confirm that when we can. WWE looking into during AEW for a breach of Jeff's contract, alleging that Jeff left intentionally to sign with AEW. Boy, that really wouldn't surprise me if Jeff kind of made himself get in trouble so he could leave WWE to sign with AEW. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't really know. And then, looking into suing. I don't know. You never know. I mean, I've met Jeff and Matt Hardy several years ago at an old TNA, then TNA event. Jeff was like Chatty Cathy. He was like very outgoing, very, very, very polite. He wanted to talk a lot. Matt wasn't very talkative. Nice guy, but wasn't very talkative. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I don't know if WWE will take legal action or not. I don't know if it's worth it with Jeff's age and all the problems they've had with Jeff. Be very interesting to see. I don't know. It'll make for some interesting news. So, Gabby, did you have any more thoughts on the trios match before we move on? Nope.
No, just the fact that I watched a 60-plus-year-old man dive through three tables and somehow not die.
Pretty crazy stuff. I mean, Terry Funk did some crazy stuff in his 70s. So the final match of the night was for the AEW World Title, World Championship. Hangman Adam Page, who I think's boring, just as boring as Kenny Omega was, and just as boring as Jon Moxley was as champion. I got that look from Gabby. Probably going to get myself a super kick in the face tonight. So Adam Cole challenging Adam Page for the AEW World Title. Adam Page went over. He was the winner tonight. I didn't expect a title change. If any title change happens, maybe at Full Gear, because Page would have had the title a year. Well, I don't know. Page, I think they'll give Page a full year run with it. I expect him to drop it at Full Gear this year. This match was physical. There was a lot of physicality in this match, a lot of crazy spots. There wasn't enough build-up for this match, I think, for Adam Cole to actually win it, to go over tonight. But there was a lot of Panama Sunrise moves that Cole did. He did one on the floor. He did it a lot of times. There was that crazy tombstone pile driver on the table tonight. It was interesting enough, and maybe Brett could pick up on this. Maybe Quentin. Quentin says Adam Page is as good as champion, but better than. Oh, it's not working. There we go. Adam Page is as good as champion, but better than Omega. Sorry, Gabby. Yeah, I think Gabby she likes Kenny Omega. Doesn't like Don Callis, but she likes Kenny Omega. I think she likes Adam Page to an extent.
Kind of a smart mouth.
Yeah.
Don Callis is kind of a smart mouth.
Yeah.
Jim Ross said something very interesting though when Adam Cole tried to do the Panama Sunrise. He tried to do it, forgot to put his knee pad down, and Jim Ross said his knee pad was up when he did it. That was the only thing that saved Adam Page from not losing the title tonight.
Right. Well, you know what I thought was interesting, and maybe the others can pick up on this, is that I thought the fans booed a bit when Page did that boom on Adam Cole. And I thought, are we going to have like a double turn here where Cole's going to become babyface somehow and Page is going to be heel? I don't really know, because Adam Page has been a heel before. He was a heel in Ring of Honor at one point. So Brett Farmer says Cole and Red Dragon's failures to get gold sets up Omega versus the Young Bucks at Double or Nothing. Adam losing was the point of this feud. Yep, I think so. I agree. I think that Adam Cole is probably going to move on. Will he get a run as the AEW champion? Maybe in a different feud. But this was a boring feud. And I could see Red Dragon and Omega versus the Bucks. Maybe Omega and the Bucks as baby faces and Red Dragon as heels. I don't know. Red Dragon's been heels before. They've been baby faces before. I mean, they were Ring of Honor World Tag Champs for a long time at one point. Let's see. Quentin Walters says, at the end of the night, the best Adam won. For this feud, yes, I agree. Even though I'm not a fan of Adam Page, I do agree with that because this feud wasn't built up enough for Adam Cole to get the belt, and it would have been too soon of a drop for Adam Page unless Tony Khan felt that the fans weren't going to be behind Page, and he wasn't, he wasn't that champion that he thought he was going to be with the belt. So, yeah, it was very interesting. So it was a physical match, and there was a lot of crazy moves with tombstone pile driver off the ring apron onto a table from Page with Cole. A lot of super kicks, a lot of slaps, a lot of lariats, clotheslines, a lot of Panama sunrises. Just a crazy match. I think the crowd probably went home happy tonight in Orlando. And circling back, Gabby, to Don Callis on the pre-show, the buy-in, we saw Don Callis come out. We thought Kenny Omega was going to come out because Tony Schiavone was introducing him, and what we thought was going to be Kenny Omega, but it turned out to be Don Callis, and he was getting sarcastic, and he was getting the crowd, he was getting heat on the crowd, and bad mouthing the crowd, and talking up Kenny Omega and the Bucks, and he said the Bucks would win the tag team titles tonight, which didn't happen. So Brett Farmer's got a question. So do we see MJF interfere in Wardlow title shot, or does MJF challenge Wardlow for the TNT title after winning it? Oh boy.
I think MJF would interfere with Wardlow's title match if Wardlow did turn face in it, which he did turn face tonight.
That's solidified. Yeah, that solidified what we saw Wardlow do tonight. Solidified. Yeah.
MJF and Wardlow are done. They're
face turn for Wardlow. The fans have been cheering Wardlow. We watched Rampage. The fans cheer him. We watch Dynamite. The fans cheer him, and he acknowledges the fans. It only makes sense to have him a face, and he's a good face.
It was about time to turn him face, and what he did tonight totally solidifies that he is a full-on face. And what is MJF going to do without Wardlow when he's crying out for him again? He won't be there because he's face. I think for MJF to get revenge on Wardlow for what he did tonight, he's going to interfere with a future title shot and make him lose.
Yeah. I could probably see that happening. I'd probably see MJF interfering in Wardlow's title shot, costing him a win for the title. That could probably happen. I could see that more than MJF challenging Wardlow for the TNT title after winning it. But we'll find out Wednesday night what happens. And it was a good move to turn Wardlow face. I like it. Let's see here. We got some other comments. Let me get that. So yeah, Quentin Walters asks, "What's a Don Callis?" I love it. Let's see here. Brett Farmer. The complication may be that MJF has made a point to say Wardlow has a contract with MJF, not AEW. Ah, good point, Brett. Because I remember how MJF would say, "You work for me." Yeah, that's a good point. That could put a twist on things. It could make some interesting storylines. Daniel Schill, welcome, Daniel. And he is saying Sting is 63 this month. They had him go through tables from the clips I saw on Twitter. Really? Yeah, he did. Yeah, Daniel, he did. He went through those tables. I'm sure that the highlights will be posted maybe by AEW tomorrow. They're usually a bit late in getting those up. But yeah, it was a crazy spot. He actually just leaped off, dropped himself down, just kind of sort of like a belly flop type move. It was crazy.
He leaped over the guardrail and he just went for it and he landed on top of Andrade and the tables broke and I'm like, oh my gosh. What just happened?
Yep.
Like, can he still
do Sting went through those. Yeah, he went through those. Yeah.
Doing this?
Yeah. Yep, and he went through them willingly too. I mean, it was crazy because we were like, really? It was pretty crazy. All right. Yeah, good question, Daniel. We were discussing this earlier. So what are they going to have Regal do? Be a manager for Mox and Bryan, or just be in the back like WWE had them do? So, Daniel, we kind of discussed that maybe like an on-screen general manager, maybe on-screen authority figure. Maybe Gabby mentioned that maybe he could officiate kind of the contract signings.
The only reason why the only reason why he'd be really good at officiating contract signings is because Tony Schiavone does the contract signings, but they kind of get a little out of hand. And William Regal made Mox and Danielson shake hands tonight. He headbutted Mox and slapped Danielson and made them shake hands, and then he was trying to talk to sense into them. So I think he'd be really good either with commentary or with or officiating contract signings, just because I think they wouldn't get out of hand like they have with Tony Schiavone. Doing them. Nothing against Tony Schiavone. He's great. I love him. He's hysterical. But he's just not that good at contract signings, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Daniel's comment. Maybe he'd be a manager for Mox and Bryan. He'd be a pretty good manager for him. I could see that happening. I don't know if Josh Boutwell's going to show up tonight, Daniel, because he was not able to recap the show tonight. He said he was going to. He had to go. He had other obligations, and so he was either going to be able to watch it, maybe if he could tonight. If not, he said he was going to watch it tomorrow. So I don't know if he's on tonight or not. I don't think so. Oh, yes. Good point, Brett. Contract signings are just predictable segments that take away time from matches. No thanks. Yeah, they can be. If they're done right, I like contract signings because I'm old school. But yeah, they can be predictable at times. So my final thoughts on the pay-per-view is we're going to wrap up here because I know it's late for a lot of people on the East Coast, not so late for people on the West Coast. Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, it's true, Daniel. So overall, I thought AEW did a good job with Revolution tonight. It was a sold-out crowd. The fans were into it. There was a lot of blood. There was a lot of action, a lot of crazy spots. So they went all out, no pun intended, with Revolution tonight. We'll see what they do with Dynamite Wednesday. I'll give the pay-per-view a thumbs up. We'll see what they do with Double or Nothing, which is reportedly from Tony Khan, the lower level of the T-Mobile Arena is already sold out. So it'll be very interesting to see. Gabby, your final thoughts?
I thought the pay-per-view was great with all the blood and thumbtacks and all the jumping through tables and jumping onto tables and watching all the violence it was.
All right, Quentin gave his review 10. It looks like 100,000 out of 10. All right, awesome. Yep. Next pay-per-view, Daniel, is May 29th. Go ahead, Gabby.
Nothing so the next pay-per-view is May 29th, Double or Nothing at the T-Mobile Arena.
Yep, and that's a Sunday. That's the last Sunday of May. See Brett Farmer really quick. Yep, he said great pay-per-view, lots of blood. Punk versus MJF match of the night. Put the world title on MJF at Double or Nothing, please. I think MJF deserves a run as the champion. I agree. Gabby's doing her Orange Cassidy thumbs up because I think MJF, he's a great talker, and I think with his mouth and being a world champion, that's gold. That's money. And so I'd love to see him have the world title at Double or Nothing, or maybe at All Out. Yep, yep. I think that's great. Yep. Yes, Daniel, they do 4 a year. So they have Revolution in March, Double or Nothing in May, All Out in September, and Full Gear in November. So they're doing just the 4 a year. And Gabby and I were kind of talking about maybe now that Tony Khan has the Ring of Honor streaming service, would he do more special events on that streaming service? I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see what he might do. Brett Farmer, MJF would be great at building some new main event faces. I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do agree with that too.
Yep, I agree with that. Yep. All right. So thank you for those that joined us tonight. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your support for WrestleView. Like as Quentin said, like and subscribe to this video or our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and we try to keep up to date on the latest news as much as possible. Tomorrow, really quick, Brett Farmer's got a comment. Yeah, I think Gabby and I talked about this. ROH stays separate outside some Ring of Honor appearances. I think and AEW some AEW appearances. I think that Ring of Honor is going to end up on TBS or TNT as a separate show eventually, if that's what Tony Khan does with it. Update on Cody. We mentioned this tonight earlier, Daniel. Thanks for asking. I'll go back to my report from earlier today. Let's see if I still have it pulled up. Yep. Okay. So reports that came out earlier today was that WWE thought everything was a done deal with Cody. However, some things have apparently changed from that. There are reports that saying creative plans for Cody have already been done. However, there's been some issues. Something's different. There's some uncertainty. WWE doesn't know what that uncertainty is. And there's been fan speculation that Brandy and Cody leaving AEW is all a work, an angle for Cody to come back and run Ring of Honor. So I don't know. We'll have to see if that's holds true. I mentioned earlier that if Cody does go to WWE, it'll be probably WrestleMania. Probably at WrestleMania. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Quentin. That's awesome. We appreciate it. Gabby the Great. That's great. Oh, that's too funny. That is too funny. Oh, let's see. What do we got here? Yep. Yeah, we thought so too. Gabby and I have been thinking this, that Tony Khan's gonna have Cody run Ring of Honor. That's kind of our thought. So before we wrap up tonight, again, thank you everyone for your comments and joining us. Like and subscribe, as I mentioned. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. So tomorrow night, I believe Mike and Victoria Tedesco will be doing the Raw post show as WrestleMania season is upon us. So we appreciate those of you that joined our video broadcast tonight for the Revolution post show. Thanks to Roy Nummer for doing the Great Revolution graphic that you see in the upper right hand corner. And so again, thank you for joining us, and everyone have a great night.